Hello, I'm Matthew from Ludochrono. Today I'm going to give you an overview of Dungeon Twister. Dungeon Twister is a two-player game in which you manage a team of heroes and monsters in a shifting dungeon. This is a game in which you try to get 5 victory points first. If you do, you win. To get a victory point, you can KO one of your opponent's miniatures, that grants you 1 point. You can also have one of your miniatures exit to the other side of the dungeon, that gives you 1 point. If they were carrying a treasure, that gives you an additional point. And if it were the goblin, it gives you an additional point as well. If you reach 5 VP first, you win the game. So the players are going to have several things. They have cards representing their units, but also representing the different treasures that you can find and the swords and the equipment that you may find. Leap cards to leap over traps, combat cards that allow you to have bonuses in combat, and finally action cards and tokens, which are the heart of what you're going to do. Much of the setup is done behind your screen, and it's done privately and simultaneously, and then at the same time you will reveal what's behind your screen and place the miniatures on the board accordingly. So now we have set up the game. To set up the game, you place the tiles face down. You have 8 tiles, and then you place those tokens one by one, and then you reveal the starting teams and place the miniatures. Then you can start, and let's admit I'm the first player. The first thing that you're going to do on your turn is select an action card with 2 to 5 actions. On the first turn of the game, you have to select the 2 actions cards. In this case, I have 2 actions to spend, and for 1 action, I may reveal a tile I have access to. So I have access to this tile because I am close to it. I will simply flip it face up, and then it is revealed. So as we reveal the tile, we'll also reveal the tokens that were on it. If there are items in my color, my opponent will place them after I have placed everything I had to place. In this case, I have to place my wall walker, and I will place her here. We also have a portcullis there. And then my opponent will place that item, a potion of speed, in this place. So now I have taken my first action, and for my second action, I will move the warrior. To move the warrior, I will look at their movement speed. They have a movement speed of 3, and I will simply move my warrior 1, 2, and 3 spaces. And that's it. I have taken my turn, and now we move on to the opponent's turn. And they will have to select one of their action cards. They can select the 2, or they can go above me, but by 1. This is a limit that is lifted once a player plays their card with 5 actions. So in this case, they will choose to play this, and they will have 3 actions to spend on their turn. So now the game has advanced. We revealed more tiles, more heroes, more items, and so on and so forth. So what goes on is, it's my turn. I will choose an action card, and I will choose a 5 actions card. I will take 5 actions this turn. For my first action, I will simply choose to move the warrior to block the enemy goblin, because I don't want them to score a lot of points. For my second action, I will choose my troll, and I will attack the wall walker here. You may attack if you are adjacent, and that allows you to perform an attack, and when you do, you try to have the higher strength. So my troll has 4 attack, and the wall walker has 1 attack. And we will both choose a card from our combat hand and reveal them at the same time. And we will add that score to our base score. So I have 4 plus 1, 5, and they have 1 plus 0, 1. So I have the highest value, I win the combat. So the wall walker becomes wounded, they have a strength of 0, and they cannot take any other actions until they are healed, for example, by the cleric. However, the card I use is discarded for good. The 0 is a bit special, it returns to your hand afterwards. So I lose a bonus, but I won the combat. So now for another action, I will use one of those cogs. The cogs allow you to rotate the plate, the tile that you are in. So in this case, for example, I will use it with the cleric because he was on a cog, and it rotates that tile 1 space, 90 degrees clockwise. However, you may notice that there are colors on the tiles, and if you have discovered a tile in the same color, instead of moving your tile, you can rotate the other tile in the same color. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to rotate this tile 90 degrees clockwise. By doing so, I moved my goblin closer to the exit, and remember the goblin is worth 2 victory points. Now I will choose that character and I will move it at its movement speed of 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I will move it again, and this allows it to exit the dungeon, so I will score 1 victory point. If it were my 5th victory point, I would have won the game. However, it is not the case at that point. If they bore the treasure, I would have gained 1 more victory point. Unfortunately, the treasure is here. There are some more things I want to talk to you about, notably traps. The traps, if you move over them without any precaution, you're going to get wounded. However, you can use those leap cards. You have 3 of them, and you have to spend 1 action point to use them, and they allow you to leap over a trap. You can also use the rope, or if your thief is on the space of the trap, you can move safely with her. You also have some more equipment. The speed potion allows you to gain 4 action points if you consume it. You have extra attack, and so on and so forth. Some powers, some abilities will cost you some action points. Others will not. For example, the mage is going to float to levitate over the traps. The wall walker, if she is not wounded, she can spend an action point to move through a wall, so she moves quite freely. So you're going to try to manage your team to hinder your opponents, but also you want to get on the other side to win the game. As soon as a player reaches their 5th victory point, they immediately win the game. And that's it for Dungeon Twister. So this is a game in which you try to manage your team, to collect treasures, to rotate the boards, to hinder your opponents, and hopefully go to the exit. Now, bye-bye, see you on Ludochrono.